Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's presentation. We are so excited to bring you a workshop all about going back to school. Most of the kids in Australia are back at school either last week if you're in Queensland or this week if you're in New South Wales. When do your kids go back to school, Sarah?
Well, I've actually got Luca starting on Wednesday, and then Valley starts for his very first day in kindy on Thursday.
Oh, how exciting.
Yes, thank goodness for oils.
So, who are we? Sarah, do you want to start by introducing yourself?
I'm obviously firstly a mum of two beautiful boys, one's 7 and one's 5. I'm also an early childhood educator, which I have done for the past 13 or so years. So for me, the oils, I really like crayons. There's one for every day in every colour, and I can really blend that with children. So, yeah.
Awesome. And I'm Kim Thompson. I am a gold leader with Young Living. I'm also a mum. I have two little girls who are 7 and 9. I can't believe how old they are. They seem so big now. And I've been using oils basically since they were born. So the fact that we're talking about going back to school and all of that kind of stuff. My girls are definitely oily children, and they want oils put on every day before they go to school, and they absolutely love oils. And like you, I believe that there's an oil, for all different occasions and for every day. So we wanted to give you an introduction tonight about how you might be able to help your children with the school routine. Some of them might be scared going back to school. They might have difficulty making friends. Maybe they're, got some difficulties paying attention. Maybe they've been out of the routine of going to sleep at night. Whatever kinds of challenges your child might be facing at school, then maybe we might have a natural solution that you could consider. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So, first of all, I guess I just want to set the scene on why you might look at natural alternatives as, something that your family might consider. For me, I had asthma as a child. My parents actually put me into swimming because of my asthma when I was a child. But back then, I seemed to be a real, I was rare. There wasn't very many kids with asthma. And these days, 1 in 9 people actually have asthma in Australia. It's really quite scary how many kids are diagnosed all the time that have asthma. So basically, as this slide says, nearly 7 in 10 children aged 2 to 18 actually, they're not getting the required amount of fruits and vegetables that they should be getting. And that's because, it's hard these days. Parents are busy, they're working. Children have choices, and they don't always go for the healthy alternatives like, fruit and vegetables. And the thing is that then leads to other problems like obesity and children being overweight. I mean, 1 in 4 children aged 5 to 17, this was, from basically, health statistics, says that children are actually overweight or obese. That's 1 in 4. That's huge, isn't it, Sarah?
That is absolutely massive. And I think it really does come down to that parents are busy working 9 to 5, 5 days a week, trying to be here and everywhere, as well as support their children as best they can. So sometimes it gets a bit tough.
And we do often as a parent, we want things to be easy and quick. We're at work all day. We want to, just be able to heat something up for dinner, and it's not always the healthiest choice. Even what we pack into our kids' school lunch boxes. I know a nutritionist once said to me, and you'd probably know this working in early childhood services, that some parents actually treat their kids' lunchbox more like a pantry or a grocery store than an actual kid's lunchbox. Like, you should, put into it the food that you want them to eat, not a huge range of everything for them to choose from, because they are likely to choose the unhealthy snacks over the healthy snacks. Whereas in my kids' lunchboxes, I just put the healthy snacks and they don't have any other choice.
And then the other thing is that children get overwhelmed that there's so much snack food that they don't know where to begin, and then time's up.
Yeah, well, that's right. And we need to make things simple and easy. I mean, I know that my girls have so much difficulty unwrapping Glad wrap. And so I try to put in things that aren't in Glad wrap that they can just, reach into their lunchbox and grab out and, and munch on. So anyway, I also wanted to talk about, I guess, the increasing rates of autism and ADHD. And it really is quite alarming these days how many children are being diagnosed with autism spectrum disorders or even with ADHD compared to previous decades. And there's a lot of research out there today that says that it is to do with environmental factors, even, a lot to do with our diet and just, our basic lifestyle. And Sarah, you know too well that children are being diagnosed with autism.
They are. I've actually got a quirky little man myself, and he gets quite buzzy at times. And I know that if we've been to a birthday party and I go, oh, you can have a bit of this and a bit of that because we're at a special occasion, the behaviours do escalate, and that really gives me a trigger going, oh my goodness, if just a little bit at a birthday party does that, then giving that to him all the time would just completely overload his system.
And I think some parents don't really know what normal is because they're constantly, their children, like if their children are exposed to these foods on a daily basis and they're not in a routine of good sleeping patterns and calming behaviours and all of that kind of stuff, it can be really, really overwhelming for these parents because they feel like that is the normal, as opposed to, in your case, you see that's abnormal for your child.
Yes, I can definitely see, like when we go to birthday parties, that trigger and that out of routine as well. And just, yeah, you can really just notice a behaviour and go, oh my goodness, yep, that's why we're doing the routine that we have chosen to do. So,
and I definitely think that, getting back to things that are natural, rather than all the preservatives and additives and stuff that's in food. I mean, I once looked at the 160B that's in ice cream, and basically the side effects of that is that children can bang their heads against walls, and even all of the other food additives that cause things like asthma and eczema. In children, it's on the increase so much every day because these chemicals, these toxic, harmful chemicals, are in everyday foods that children eat. Muesli bars, chips, biscuits, like all of these rice crackers out there on the market. There's only one brand which I actually give to my children because the rest of them are full of MSG, which has really harmful effects on children's behaviour and even on their respiratory tract and stuff like that. So, it's scary for parents. They think they're doing the right thing by giving them healthy rice crackers, and here they are full of all these nasty chemicals that are, causing children to have really bad behaviours.
And it's scary that the food companies are allowed to put these chemicals into the food as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, my partner used to eat Tim Tam biscuits, and as soon as I told him, that some of the ingredients in some of these, chocolate biscuits are not so great, you have to reconsider what it is that you're eating, and particularly if you're a parent and your children are eating these foods. All right. So I guess the other thing that I want to say about this is that children are not small adults. So by weight, our children actually consume more food and water, and they breathe more air than adults. So, they are exposed to more of these toxic chemicals than we are because they are they're literally eating more food. They're growing at such a rate that they need to eat this food and drink the water. They're actually breathing. They breathe a lot faster than adults, so they're consuming more of these toxic chemicals than we are. The other thing is that they do what we call hand-to-mouth behaviours. Like, I see children just pick things up off the ground and eat them and put them straight in their mouth. And one of the things when I'm always amazed at play groups where mums are putting these hand sanitizers on their children's hands rather than taking them to the bathroom and washing their hands. And the chemicals that are in these hand sanitizers are actually, like especially triclosan, it's an endocrine disruptor. It messes with their hormones. And then children are being exposed to this every time before they eat because their parents are putting these toxic chemicals on their children's hands, and the children are literally ingesting those toxic chemicals every time they're licking their hands or eating their food. And the other thing is that children are actually less able than adults to expel these toxins because they're not sweating as much as us. And so that the toxins are actually staying in their body and making them sick. And that is what's leading to a lot of childhood, behavioural issues, skin conditions, and even respiratory disorders. So I guess what can we do? And it is overwhelming. Sometimes it's like you feel like as a parent throwing your hands up in the air and going, oh my God, I don't know what to do. So I suggest that the first thing we need to do is, take a deep breath and focus on the things that you can actually control. And for me, that's knowing what ingredients that you should avoid. So I'm a big believer in like people like Sue Dengate, who she has a great book, and even like the FODMAPs sort of diet where you look at, the chemicals to avoid, but definitely in Sue Dengate's book, it's called Fed Up. She has a list of the common food chemicals to avoid. And if you keep that list handy with you when you do your shopping, like I take a screenshot on my phone and I literally just walk through the supermarket aisles. And if I'm looking at buying a new product that I've never bought before, I've saved it to my favorites on my phone and I bring it up and I look and I go, oh, wow, that's got that number in it or that number. Because these days food, companies aren't putting the names of the products on them because they've got whys and they know that we know what they are. So I look up the numbers and then I know, oh, gee, I'm not going to buy that because that's MSG or that's whatever. And I look at replacing those items with something, that doesn't have those numbers in it. And I mean, there's a saying that my grandma, basically even, looking at what products would have been around when my grandma was a little girl. And if it wasn't around then we just don't eat it in our house because it probably more than likely going to contain nasty toxic chemicals. So not only do kids get exposed to chemicals in the food that they eat every day, like, in some of the snack foods and stuff that they eat at school and preschool, but they're exposed to them in the chemicals that are in our cleaners and our bubble baths and our, all the products that we're putting on our children, even sunscreens, repellents, insect repellents, all of those contain nasty chemicals. So here's a list. It's basically from the cosmetics database, which is, I have an app on my phone called Think Dirty, which is really great. Do you have that app, Sarah? I
do have it. And it's so easy to use because you can just scan the barcode and then it gives you a code on whether it's safe, okay, or green to go. So
yeah, and so then you know whether these chemicals are in the products that you're putting on your children. Because it isn't what you do once in a while, it's what you do every day. And if your child's having a bubble bath every day, or the shampoo that you're putting on your child, or if these chemicals are in the sunscreen that you're putting on your child every day before they go to preschool, then that's all accumulating. And if your child is exposed to these chemicals every day for 60, 80 years of their life, then those chemicals are going to build up and cause, health challenges later on. So we're looking for parabens, phthalates, mineral oil. So baby oil is it doesn't contain babies. It contains mineral oil, which basically comes from petrol. And it's a really quite a nasty ingredient that we want to stay away from. You want to stay away from propylene glycols, basically any ingredient that's called a PEG. And whatever number that comes after it. Sodium lauryl or sodium laureth sulfate, DEA, TAs, formaldehyde, talc. Talc, when I was a kid, everyone used baby powder, but now these days we know that those kind of ingredients lead to things like ovarian cancer. Alcohols, which lead to mouth cancers and things like that. It's in your mouthwash. Urea, synthetic fragrances, things that are called perfume. If a product just says fragrance or perfume, you can pretty well bet that it's got synthetic ingredients in it. Or your colours. Yellow, food colouring, I don't know if you know, Sarah, but it's actually worse than red when it comes to, having it as a food additive. And it's really bad when it's in products as well. So any products that's sort of yellow in colour, it's quite nasty.
Very nasty.
All right, so all done with the doom and gloom. We've kind of hopefully set the scene and convinced you that, to look at natural alternatives. And I guess for me, one of the natural alternatives I absolutely love is Young Living. How long have you been with Young Living, Sarah?
I've been with Young Living for, is it 5 years now?
5, wow.
So Valley was 6 months old when I decided to look for alternatives, and I'm so pleased that I was able to do that so quickly as well. But that monster toothpaste up the top there is one of their absolute favourites. And that's how I get them into cleaning their teeth, is because I'm like, you haven't brushed the monsters away, quick.
That's a great idea. My girls love the taste because they're not a big fan of overly minty toothpaste, and that kind of, even though it's sort of minty, it's more sweet, and they quite, because it has natural sweetener in it. It doesn't have any of the nasty triclosans that can be in some toothpaste, or fluoride, or any of those kinds of things. It's really quite a great toothpaste for kids. And I love that Young Living have their own kids range, because as I mentioned before, kids aren't little adults. They actually, they're unique beings, and they need special products for their skin and for their livers and all of their body to be able to deal with these products. So I love that they've got a special range of shampoos and bath gel, the tender tush, and lotions. So Kid Sense diffusers. Have you got one of these?
I do. We've got the Dino Land. Obviously, with 2 boys, there was sort of no understatement that it would be the dinosaurs. But it is fantastic. I put it on every single night in the lounge room, and then they do have one each in their bedroom, so they're a bit spoiled. But it just lasts all night, so I couldn't live without it.
Yeah, my girls, they share a room, and they've got the dolphin one, and they absolutely love it. Most of the time it's got lavender in it, although, some of the months of the year we have RC. But the girls, I let them choose what oil, and we fill it up. They love that the light's on all night, so it's kind of like acts as a night light, as well as being able to diffuse essential oils into their room. It's really quite calming before they go to bed. I put the diffuser on before I read them a story, and that way by the time I finish the story, the room's really calm and they've breathed in the lavender oil or whatever I've had diffusing that night. And I absolutely love it. So I definitely recommend getting a diffuser for your child's room.
Yes.
All right, I talked a lot before about diet and how children's diet these days is really lacking in fruits and vegetables. Even my girls, who have such a healthy diet, I'm never sure whether they're getting all of the vitamins and minerals that they actually need. And so I give them Ninja Red, and it's kind of like all of their daily vitamins right there. It's an amazing, antioxidant support to to them, and especially to me as a mum. I don't know about you, Sarah, but I notice on the days that I don't drink Ninja Red, come 3 o'clock, like I didn't have it this morning, funnily enough. It was like we have it's been a long weekend here. We were rushing out the door and I was like, oh, I didn't have Ninja Red. And then come 3 o'clock this afternoon, I was laying on the bed going, oh, I could go to sleep. And I was thinking to myself, that's because I didn't have my Ninja this morning.
I have to, without a doubt, get up in the morning and then come and have a shot of Ninja Red. And even Luca is now into that system. He cannot start his day without having a shot of Ninja Red. My quirky one, on the other hand, because it is quite a strong pureed sort of juice-like figure, finds that a little bit strong as a drink because he only ever drinks water. He won't even drink milk. So I actually freeze his in the little sachets that they come in, and he will drink it as an icy pole.
Yeah, my girls love it as ice blocks as well.
Yeah, so that's sort of, it can be very versatile. You don't have to just have it one way.
Yeah, it's definitely a great way if you're not sure whether your kids are getting all the vitamins, of ensuring, especially over winter time. I mean, obviously winter you can't really, like, it's a bit cold for ice blocks, but I definitely notice that my girls have less days off school than other kids, and I put it down to this one product, which is Ninja Red.
It's incredible.
Sleek bars. I mean, there's a Young Living have an amazing range of, nutritional supplements and food products. And one of the products that I love is the Sleek bars. Obviously, at my girls' school, it's a nut-free zone, so we can't take these to school. But they love this as a snack food after school. So often I'll cut them up into smaller pieces, or if I'll have one in my handbag, and I'll pick the girls up from school and we'll have to go somewhere, like, if I've got to go down to the shops or something like that. And the first thing they say when they hop in the car is, I'm hungry. I'm like, here, eat a Sleek bar. Because it's just full of like seeds and nuts and fruit, and that's it. There's no nasty chemicals. There's no high fructose corn syrup or any of those things that you don't want your children eating. They're just a really healthy snack. So anyway, I guess I just wanted to share with you that there are some healthy muesli bars out there. You don't have to just get the ones from the supermarket that are full of sugar and unhealthy ingredients.
And they're awesome for mummies on the go too.
They are. I always have one in my handbag, as I said before. Okay, so let's talk about essential oils. I mean, basically, I'm not called the hot oily mama for nothing. I use essential oils every day. So I guess some of the tips that I would suggest is that you need to be really careful when using essential oils with children. Children's bodies aren't the same as adults, but even with adults, we need to make sure that we're diluting essential oils with a carrier oil. Essential oils are so potent that they can actually cause irritation, and they shouldn't be used in specific circumstances. You need to make sure that you patch test first. Just because they're natural doesn't mean that children aren't going to experience side effects. It's really scary to me sometimes when I read on the internet that these other companies are suggesting just slapping oil on children, and that's really can be quite dangerous, and particularly oils like peppermint and eucalyptus. We need to be wary using them with children under 2 and even children under 10. We need to be careful with some oils. So I always suggest reading the label. People say to me, how do I use this oil? And I say, well, the instructions are on the label. So, the first thing to do is read the label. Always with children, dilute with a carrier oil to make sure that, that at least helps to reduce any chance that they'll have a reaction. It doesn't totally eliminate it, obviously, particularly because children's skin is sensitive. We need to be really careful. and not use too many drops. So, looking at diluting it, say 1 drop in a tablespoon of carrier oil. And when I say carrier oil, I mean something like olive oil, almond oil, apricot kernel, that kind of thing. Yeah, coconut oil is great. Absolutely love coconut oil. If the child does have an irritation, never use water. Oil and water don't mix, and the water sometimes can actually increase the irritation that your child might be feeling. So if an essential oil does irritate your child's skin, or they get it in their eyes or anything like that, the best thing to do is actually to flush the area with a carrier oil. So get some olive oil from the kitchen or coconut oil and dilute the area rather than trying to wash it off. Never apply essential oils to sensitive areas where there's mucous membrane. So we don't put oils in our eyes, our ears, and especially like with children, we're not going to put them anywhere where they're going to come in contact with their genital area, because those mucous membranes are really quite sensitive. So if you're putting oils in a bath, make sure you're adding them to, some Castile liquid soap or an unscented bath wash or something like that. So it's going to disperse properly throughout the whole bath water before you put your child in the bath. And, children, they sit down lower in the bath than us, and they're going to be breathing in those whole, molecules of oil. So you want to make sure that it's dispersed really well, so they're not, breathing in too much oil at any one time. Thieves. Do you love thieves, Sarah?
I do love thieves. This is in my every single day routine, whether we're at home, whether we're going to preschool, whether we're going to school, whether we're going to the shops or the park, wherever we go, we always pop some thieves on our feet before going out, because children love to get dirty. They love to share and be with one another and be with nature, and oh my gosh, they're just fantastic sharers. That's why we place these on our feet every morning before going to preschool and school. It's sort of our little prevention, our witchcraft, I suppose, in a way, to stop bringing anything home.
That's great. So Thieves is actually an essential oil blend, and it contains 5 essential oils, so 5 different plants go into making up the Thieves blend. So it's cinnamon, clove, eucalyptus, rosemary, and lemon. So as I mentioned before, you do need to be wary using oils like eucalyptus and cinnamon on young children. So we want to make sure that we're diluting, and as Sarah said, putting it on their feet, and, not using it on too young children. So the story behind Thieves was that there were some spice traders, and they were basically, they couldn't trade their spices because the ports were closed due to, some outbreak. And so they started rubbing themselves down with all these different herbs and spices that they sold in their, spice trading business. And those spices included, your rosemary, your lemon, your clove, your cinnamon. It didn't obviously include eucalyptus, because it's, in modern times, I guess, that we've realised how strong and amazing eucalyptus oil is. So they were rubbing themselves down with them, and eventually the authorities caught up with these guys who were going around and robbing all of the people that had got sick. And they came up with the recipe called the 4 Thieves vinegar, and it's actually written on a like a piece of material in a museum in Marseille in France. And Gary Young went and researched this whole thing and found something like 17 different versions of the story. So you've probably heard different versions along the way of this particular story. And that's what he sort of based this particular oil blend on, was that story. So it's a truly amazing oil. I use this in a lot of my cleaning. I clean, I add it to some vinegar and some water and spray down my benches and things like that, because it smells like chai, and I love that smell. So, all right. Most parents have probably used lavender at some time in their life. What do you use lavender for, Sarah?
Oh my goodness, it's like my Swiss Army knife. I can use it for everything. Not just one particular thing. But obviously on a drop on the pillow before somebody goes to bed is often really nice and calming. It's great for massaging, just to get all those buzzies out and just to start to unwind and chill out for a little while. But it's also really good to pop in their preschool sheets or on their school shirts to enhance a sense of security. It sort of just gives them the smell of, yes, mum and dad are with me and I can take on anything.
Wow, that's a great idea, particularly if your children have been used to lavender before they go to bed at night. When they go to preschool, then, it does. That's a great idea. It really does remind them of home and remind them of their parents, because sense of smell is one of the strongest things that actually links to our emotional part of our brain. So if you've got happy memories of home and you smell something that smells like home, it's going to bring back those happy memories and help children to adjust at preschool and school. So that's a great idea. Thanks, Sarah.
Right.
Oh, so my girls call this special spray, but your boys call it ouchie spray?
Yes. So whenever they're running crazy on the concrete and happen to bump and fall over, the first thing that they ask for is the ouchie spray. And I know that what I'm putting on them when I spray them is exactly what's in the bottle, because it's exactly what it says. And we all know the benefits of aloe vera and how good just pulling off a plant of aloe vera is in your garden and putting that on you. So this definitely is top of my list.
Yeah. And my girls started calling it special spray. It's definitely something I keep in the fridge. And so it's really cool when I spray it on them. But you know what? Like the lavender in it just calms them down. So if anything else, it just helps them to calm down when they're really upset and something has happened to them. So I just, I sit with them, I sit them on my lap and I spray the special spray on, and, and it's time with mummy, and they absolutely love that. So, but, it's really actually called lavender, as you can see, cooling mist. But we all have our own names for this product, but it's definitely a must-have in any home with kids. So.
Yes.
All right. And so obviously lavender was in that last one. But lavender is great to add to your bath at nighttime, whether you're a child or a mum.
Yes.
That's me. I swear that photos of me, I look like that.
Yeah.
And if you're a mum, you can also, add it to some Castile liquid soap, or I add it to some magnesium flakes to put in my bath. And yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of the good old lavender oil in the bath.
Yes.
All right. Do you make this bubble bath, Sarah?
I do. Or even though sometimes I just use the gel shower base if I'm just running out of time, it works really good when you put it directly underneath the water as well. But this bubble bath is fantastic because I know that what is actually going into the bath, and I know all the chemicals that are in there, whereas when I buy the ones from the Woolies and different places, there's all these big names that I can't even pronounce. So how do I know what's going in the bath?
And a lot of bubble baths, particularly children's bubble baths, but a lot of even adult bubble baths, if you read the warning labels on the product, you'll actually find that the ingredients cause urinary tract infections. And here we are putting them in our kids' baths, and then we're sitting them in it. And of course, if you're anyone like me and you're in the bath for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, even up to an hour sometimes, I'm absorbing those toxins into my genital area and even in through my skin, and here they are, that they can lead to urinary tract infections. It's really quite scary. And they're sold in supermarkets everywhere. And anyway, here's a natural alternative. You basically use the Young Living bath and shower gel some honey and egg white, lavender and eucalyptus. Now, as I said before, if it's a child under 2, we wouldn't recommend putting the eucalyptus, and just all you need to do is increase the amount of lavender oil instead of, putting in the eucalyptus. The thing about this bath and shower gel is it's not going to last forever because it has the egg white and the honey in it, and they are natural ingredients and they go off. But I find that if I'm using it in my children's bath every night, we're using it faster than it goes off anyway. And with anything natural, if it smells off, you know what? It is off. So it's time to chuck it out.
Yeah.
Peppermint. Peppermint's one of my favourite oils.
It is. I love it too. Peppermint is like walking on green grass. It's bringing you to the cool of nature. Perfect to cool you down, feet first, giving you a refreshing boost. I will let Kim explain that there is some cautions with peppermint, especially with younger children as well, and do need to test patch first because it is such a strong oil. So less is always best.
Yeah, and it can actually cause respiratory issues in some children, which is why, I always caution using it with younger children. But it, particularly with older children, and there might be some parents who are watching this video who are thinking, wow, so far you've talked about all the younger children who are at preschool or starting school or whatever, but a lot of these oils can be used with older children as well, right into high school. And lavender, a lot of teenagers have difficulty sleeping, difficulty winding down at the end of the day, and so lavender is a great oil to help them to calm down at the end of the day. And peppermint's a great oil to keep them focused. So if your child is studying for exams, it definitely keeps you alert and focused. So diffusing peppermint oil or lemon oil, it helps with, if you've been studying by using peppermint and then you go and do an exam and you smell peppermint before the exam, it really helps you to stay focused doing that exam. So, even though I'm cautioning it for using it with younger children, I definitely think peppermint's a great oil, particularly for our teenagers.
Yeah.
Our friend Frankie.
I love Frankie. He is my absolute favourite for young and old. And it's like my sunrise to my sunset. It's soothing and calming and ready to learn in the morning. And it's also unwinding and relaxing and ready to fall into bed at night time. So it can be so versatile and used in so many different ways. This oil is wonderful for children who are oversensitive to smell, because this particular oil has, to me, I wouldn't say strong, although I know some people would say it would be strong, but it's quite woody and earthy. And those children who do get a little bit buzzy would find this particular oil really to the centre of their soul, if I can say it like that. Yeah.
And frankincense has definitely been used in the past for meditation. So these days in schools, they're really looking at the idea of mindfulness and teaching children about being, like learning techniques around mindfulness, and frankincense is a great oil to do that. So you can diffuse frankincense in your child's bedroom before they are going to bed, or to give them time out, if they've been studying long periods of time and you want to give them a break, you can diffuse some frankincense. Frankincense is another great oil that's great for skin. Lavender and frankincense are my 2 go-to oils for skin. So if you've got teenagers and they've got really unhappy skin, then you could try some frankincense or some lavender, or even some tea tree oil. They're really great oils for teenagers with unhappy skin. So if your teenager's like, Mom, I don't want to go back to school tomorrow. Look at my skin. It's so unhappy. Then they'd be the 3 oils that I'd look at for using on your teenager's skin. Do you want to talk about Play-Doh? Because I know you make lots of Play-Doh, Sarah.
I do. So being a preschool teacher, it is a really, really good resource for every day. And children should have the opportunity to always be tactile and learn through their hands, because that's where they learn first when they're younger. Although in saying that, that continues as older as well. But just having a sense of smell in the Play-Doh can be really quite soothing, and sort of it will get into their palms of their hands, which is also a really good spot to put oils when you're wanting to put it through all of your body as well. So yeah, and it's a really good tactile way to use the oils and be.
And definitely when the kids are playing with the Play-Doh is warming up, and that warming, like, you know, it's certainly, we want to keep oils, you know, in order to keep their therapeutic value, we want to keep them at low temperatures, but they're warming up to like body temperature, I guess is what I mean. And the smell is coming out at that body temperature, and we're breathing it in, and breathing it in is one of the quickest ways to get oils into our brain. And so it's a really great way for us to especially for children to experience essential oils, is to play with it in Play-Doh.
Yes.
And best of all, I love playing with Play-Doh.
And
reminds me of my
people like fidget things to play with, so why not have some Play-Doh with some oils in it?
Absolutely. Lemon.
Morning. I love this in a diffuser of a morning. It really, to get those kids out of bed and jumping up and excited about their day, it's a really pep you up type of oil. That with peppermint as well is really nice in the diffuser. However, I also love it as a food flavouring. It just gives you that little bit of step, like skipping your step, when you add it with some water. So.
Yeah. Even some yogurt, like adding lemon oil or orange oil or even tangerine to yogurt. Now, some parents are probably sitting there going, oh my God, I wouldn't add essential oils to my kids' food. That sounds really scary. You're right. 99% of essential oils out there on the market cannot be used in this way. And I always say to parents that you need to read the label. Don't go on what essential oil distributors tell you. If it doesn't say that you can use these oils as, you know, food and drink additives, don't do it, okay? Because there is lots and lots of research out there that will tell you that it affects, your gut flora and your liver and all of that kind of stuff. So you want to make sure that these oils meet the various requirements. And with Young Living, these oils do meet Food Standards Australia labelling requirements, and they do say that you can use them in food and drinks. So these are the only oils that I recommend, and they are the only oils that I would ever add to my children's drink bottles. Now, you've got to make sure that you don't put them in plastic. You're only putting them in glass or stainless steel, because essential oils will eat away at petrochemicals, and I've seen it. They literally start dissolving the inside of a plastic bottle. So you've got to make sure that you're putting them in glass or stainless steel. And glass is a bit hard for kids at school. So, you know, getting them a stainless steel drink bottle is a great way, particularly if your child doesn't like water. Adding a drop of orange or tangerine or something like that, it introduces them to drinking more water.
I've actually seen the effects of when you drop lemon oil on some foam, some like synthetic foam, and it just completely disintegrates it.
Yeah. So it's really important to put your oils in glass bottles. Going back to school, you know, the kids crawly hairspray. So this is just a recipe that I came up with a little while ago, and it's 1/4 cup of olive oil, some geranium, Melaleuca alternifolia, which is commonly known as tea tree, lavender and thyme. I also add these oils instead of to the olive oil. I add them even to conditioner. I buy the Young Living conditioner, or, you know, use a natural conditioner, and I put it on my girls' hair. I even put a shower cap on their head, leave it to soak for a little while. I've even left it to soak overnight when when things have been really bad, and then I'll use like a comb and comb through their hair in the morning and then wash it out. So it's quite amazing. Every parent's nightmare, I tell you. Yeah, I'm going back to school, so with the kids.
Another good way is spraying lavender, like the ouchie spray, on their hair before going to school, because it deters anything from coming home too.
Yeah. And even in their school hats, I mean, at my girls' school, they have to wear their hats every day. And, I'm sure sometimes the hats, get mixed up because they're just hanging on stands and stuff. So spraying the hats is a really good idea too.
Oh my goodness, I will be using this one next week. Both of these, actually. Stress Away is really a mum's best friend, as well as for children. It's very limey and vanilla-y, and it's just so exactly what it says, stress away. It just instantly makes my stress lift and goes away. And Peace and Calming is just really perfect for those unwanted butterflies in your tummy. And even I find by rolling it on the back of my little man's spine with some coconut oil is the best de-stressing way to relax him and get him ready for his day. So,
yeah. And I know that, Sarah, because I just heard you speak recently and you said that all children are snowflakes. And I wonder, like, who you heard that from.
Yes, they are.
And that's because they are. I always say that all children are snowflakes. And that's because I have 2 children and you have 2 children, and we see how different they are. I remember the first time, because one of the very first essential oil blends that I got given, well, the first one was Gentle Baby, but one of the next ones that I got given with Young Living was Peace and Calming. And everybody that I met had absolutely raved about Peace and Calming. I'd heard about people using it on their children when they were screaming and crying and all this kind of stuff. And it just seemed like a miracle, product. And so I'm like, give me some of that. And I started using it on Caitlin, and I mean, she's now 9, and I think she was a baby when I first used it on her, and it seemed to hype her up. And I'm like, seriously, these oils do not work. This is just crazy. This product does not work at all. And I remember just being at my wit's end, and I tried a different blend, and it's called Sacred Mountain. And it was like zen just came over the room, like whenever, because her grandma actually used to diffuse a lot of Sacred Mountain in her house, and it was like this really I'd go to pick her up after work, and it was like so peaceful, and I thought, oh my God, what a miracle. And yet with my other child, Tegan, Peace and Calming is her go-to oil. She loves it. Like, I often see her playing with even empty bottles of it. She loves the smell of it. She'll carry it around. It's kind of like her little security blanket, if you like. So it's amazing how different our children can be. I know with you, one of your children gets hyped up by lavender and the other one loves lavender.
Yes, so my eldest, he just wants lavender, lavender, lavender. He will go and find the bottle. He will go, if anything is happening, it doesn't matter what it is, emotional, physical, whatever, he will just go and get a bottle of lavender. However, with my youngest, there is no way I put lavender anywhere near him because it just sends him high as a kite. So Peace and Calming is definitely his oil, as well with cedarwood. Those earthy, sort of rooty, those types of oils is what he needs to ground himself. So
yeah, and it's so funny. They really are different, because their genetic makeup's different, their chemical makeup, what's going on emotionally for them. It's so funny what they resonate to. And so as a parent, just because you may have tried one essential oil blend and it didn't work in the way that you wanted, doesn't mean that all of them won't work. Just keep trying. You've got to find that secret sauce for your child. And as I say, for me, the secret sauce is different for both children. So
yes.
All right, let's talk about RC.
Oh, I love RC. It reminds me of a cherry blossom tree that's opening up the air for fresh air. So it's just absolutely my go-to in wintertime. And it's just perfect in the diffuser at night time, just to help everyone sleep a bit easier.
Yeah. And it contains a whole heap of different eucalyptuses and myrtles and, all of those really great oils that we tend to, want in our diffuser in winter. You've mentioned here on your slide that it's great for gentle massage to help with breathing more deeply. Do you want to tell us about the chest rub?
Well, because obviously less is more with oils, I love to make up a little chest rub, because then it's like, well, it's sort of like the store-bought ones as well, but it's also easier to use on a child, and you also aren't using as many drops as well, so it's a bit more concentrated, which is what I love about using that one on children as well. So I love to use that as a rub on their feet and on their backs and on their tummies, because it can go everywhere, because the main ingredient is coconut oil. And then apart from that, and then it's our 12 drops of sane, 12 drops of lemon, and if age appropriate, 12 drops of peppermint.
Yeah. And there is another version of this that we make for babies, but obviously today we're talking about going like school-age children.
Yeah.
So we have this recipe, the baby one. But if you want it, you will need to follow us on Facebook. So go to, the Hot Oily Mama, or what's your Facebook page, Sarah?
I've got the Wonders of Time, and then I've just got my other Facebook, which is just Sarah Farah. So, yeah.
So if you want those recipes, you'll have to check us out on Facebook. But basically, a lot of people see this. Like, I've even had naturopaths and other aromatherapists contact me and say, oh, that's too many drops for children. Oh, my God, how can you be suggesting this? And I say, it's in 50 grams of coconut oil. And the thing is, you think about those other chest rubs that you buy in the supermarket, that contain nasty petrochemicals, like, they're basically Vaseline based, and you're not even using a teaspoon per, like you're literally getting a tiny little bit and putting it on. Your child's chest is not very big, so you're not using very much of it. You'd be lucky to be using 1 drop of oil every time you're putting this on your child, because all up there is 36 drops of oil. And I reckon that I'd probably use this all of winter. So that's 3 months, 3 times 30, 90 times. I'm using less than a drop of oil every night that I'm putting this on my children. So.
It lasts such a long time. And because the coconut oil is so smooth, it just keeps running. So you really only need like a fingernail.
Yeah, it's great. Purification.
Oh, I love purification. It really does freshen up those bad odours when those school shoes come off.
You can put it on like cotton balls and stick them in the school shoes, especially the joggers.
Yes. And they've been like hot and sweaty and running all day. And yeah, so it is perfect for that. It's like a gentler cleaner than the Thieves.
Yeah.
And, oh, there's that post, eliminate odours.
Well, because I went to this one because not only is it good for eliminating odors in school shoes, but what about school lunch boxes? I was at my friend Jenny's house the other day, and her son had not cleaned out his lunchbox since last year. So, I know. Imagine how bad that smelled.
Oh dear. Well, hopefully she had purification on hand.
I think she decided it was beyond purification and needed to go in the garbage tip. These oils are good, Sarah, but they're not that good.
Well, you never know. A quick wash in the washing machine with purification, and
yes.
Yeah.
When I've left my towels say I've done a load of washing and I've left them in the washing machine and they've been in there for a few days, as a busy mum, I've forgotten about them, and I've gone and I've opened the lid of the washing machine. Oh, how long has this been in here? I run it again with just a couple of drops of purification in the washing machine, and it works wonders.
It's perfect fabric softener. Just some vinegar and some purification, and it's bliss.
Yeah. The best thing about purification is that a couple of the oils that are in this blend, but the main one is citronella, and it also contains lemongrass and tea tree. So it's great for making the Great Outdoors spray.
It is fantastic. I actually made some up for a girlfriend of mine who was going camping, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to know how you made this because we didn't get bitten."
Yeah, and even Jeremy, he's always amazed because I've got it sitting up on my veranda, and so I add 10 drops of purification, 10 drops of thieves, 10 drops of peppermint. The reason we use witch hazel is because it helps to disperse the oils, because as I mentioned earlier with the bath water example, oils and water don't mix. So the whole idea of using the witch hazel is it just helps disperse the oils a bit throughout the water. And the reason we use distilled water, it just, water from the tap can have some bacteria and stuff like that, and just makes your products go off if it has any kind of germs in it. It will go off quicker, whereas using the distilled water or demineralized water will make your products last a bit longer. So all right, I'm going to talk about why Young Living. And people say to me, but why would I want to buy Young Living oils over any other oils? Like, can't I just go to the health food shop and buy the ones from there? And I say, well, you can, but it's kind of like if I'm going to make a cake for my girl's birthday. So, say it's one of the girls, or in your case, Sarah, one of the boys' birthdays. There's a couple of things that you can do for your birthday party. You could go to the supermarket and just buy a cake from the supermarket. You don't know how long it's sat there for. You probably, if you have a look at the list of ingredients, there's a whole heap of ingredients there that you don't know what the numbers are or what the ingredients are because the words are so long, and you don't know how fresh the ingredients were even that went into it, like obviously the eggs, the flour, how much sugar is in that ingredient, or all of the different food colorings that went into it. You've just got no idea. You could even go to like a specialty cake shop and get them to make it. So, they are obviously specialize in these kinds of things. So you'd think that you could trust them a little bit more. And probably the ingredients are a bit fresher. They still might be putting some, not so desirable ingredients in there. And the other thing is that they're making so many of these things that they're not really made with love or care. Whereas with Young Living, it's just like as if I made that birthday cake myself. I know what ingredients are in there. I know how fresh they are. I know when I bought them. And most importantly, I am making it with love. It's like this movie I watched once called Water for Chocolate, which basically this lady was making these chocolates, and every time she made the chocolates, if she was happy and the people who bought her chocolates ate them, then they would be happy. Or if she was sad when she was making the chocolates, the people who ate those ones felt emotional and sad. That's like when I pour love into my child's birthday cake. You can feel that. Like, I could have followed the exact same recipe as someone else, but because I've poured love into it, you can sense that when you eat my cake. And it's the same with Young Living's oils. Like, they are distilled and the seeds are grown. They always choose the best seeds. That even the cultivation methods, they hand weed. Like, as a distributor, or anybody can go to any of these farms around the world. I've been blessed to have visited a lot of the farms, even farms here in Australia, the Blue Cypress farm in Darwin. I visited the lavender farm in France and farms in America. And I've seen this whole process from seed to seal. And I know that these are truly the best essential oils on the market. They're the Rolls Royce. And I wouldn't trust my children's health or my children's skin, or, especially if I'm adding them to their water, I wouldn't trust any other essential oil. And I know that you feel the same way, Sarah.
I really do. You can just smell the difference. And I have done a fair bit of comparing, and other people at my workshops have done comparing, and they always mention the lavender just smells so True is the best way to describe it.
Yeah. And the peppermint smells so fresh. It's not that sweet, vanilla-y, sugary, lolly smell that some other brands smell like. So,
yeah.
All right. Are you ready to get oily?
Yeah.
So the best way to buy Young Living oils is to actually become a member. Join the club, jump on board, become one of our Team Valor members. It's the absolutely best way, because not only can you buy essential oils, but you get training and you get support. You get to hang out with really cool chicks like us. Isn't that right, Sarah?
Yes.
So how do you become a member, and why would you want to become a member? So basically becoming a member actually saves you 24% off the retail pricing. Now, we are both, and everyone in our team is more than happy to sell you at the retail pricing, but then we would be doing you a disservice by not telling you that there's a heaps better way to get the oils, which is to become a member. So by becoming a member, not only do you save the 24%, you also save money on shipping. You get access to great training and resources. There's even a chance to earn monthly commissions. So what I love about the company is I got in, first of all, to use the products with my children. And then I found out that if I told other mums about something that I love, then Young Living would actually reward me with a check, a commission every month. And soon I was able to make a business out of it. But you don't have to make a business. It's just that opportunity is there if you're a member. You join a worldwide community of like-minded people. Like, what I love is being able to share my recipes and my ideas on Facebook and with all these other mums who feel exactly the same way about their children and about natural health and the environment as I do. It really does transform the lives of everyone who uses these products. So if you'd like to get started, you can obviously go to the Young Living website and click Become a Member. I always suggest that you get the member number of the person who told you about this workshop. So if it was Sarah, then contact Sarah and get Sarah's member number. Or if it was me, then you can contact me at thehotearlymama.com.au or go to either of our Facebook pages, which was The Wonders of Time for Sarah or My Hot Early Mama. Or if someone else told you about this video, then you need to contact them and get their member number, because that way you'll be in their team and they'll be able to help and support you and train you. It's no use getting these oils and leaving them on the shelf because you don't know what to do with them. So make sure that you get back in contact with the person who told you so that they can support you on your oily journey. And best of all, if you do want to get your oils for free, you just tell 4 people and they get a kit and your starter kit is paid for. So there's, obviously different kits that you can get. You can get a basic starter kit, which starts at $52, or the best way to get it is to get a premium starter kit, which includes most of the essential oils that we've talked about tonight. You get 11 essential oils, and best of all, you get a diffuser, so that you can put the diffuser in your room, the kids' room, put it in your lounge room, the kitchen, wherever you're going to use it the most. And those kits, they're a great investment in your health and your family's health. And as I say, if you tell 4 friends, every friend that you connect with a premium starter kit, Young Living actually gives you a check for $65. I did this video on this the other night. My maths was so hopeless. But basically, if you buy a premium starter kit with a dewdrop diffuser for $259 and you tell 4 of your friends who also get the same kit, you'll end up getting a check from Young Living for $260, which covers the $259 that you had. Anyway, I won't go on too much about that, but that's just a way to get your kit for free. If you're thinking to yourself, oh, I can't afford $259, but I really, really, really want these oils, then find 4 friends who also really, really, really want these oils and you'll get your kit for free. Sarah.
When you place Young Living into your lifestyle, you create an amazing artwork. You are your very own artist. So, like I said before, everyone is a snowflake, and there is literally 500 plus oils that you can actually choose from that will suit your everyday needs.
Yeah, well, 500 products, but there's definitely, I don't know how many oils there are these days. I think there's like, I don't know, there might be like 90 blends and 70 single oils or something. Young Living certainly has the most extensive range that I've ever seen on, as far as essential oils go. So
they've got 30 years experience, so they're they're leading the pack.
They definitely are. They know what they're doing when it comes to essential oils. So, well, I don't know about you, Sarah, but I'm off to bed. I'll be popping my lavender on because tomorrow is a school day.
Yes. But it was great catching up, and
it was. So thank you everyone for joining us. If you have any questions, make sure that you get back in contact with the person who told you about this video or contact one of us. We really believe that Young Living has changed our lives, and it can change yours too, all for the better. So jump on board and join the oily lifestyle.
Woohoo.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.